What's up, guys? Welcome back to Bruce Brothers Garage. In this episode, we are going to check out this first gen Boxster. It's a non-S, it's a base car, and we're going to see if it's a good entry into the Porsche world. Stay tuned. The story behind this car, this is actually our father's car. He reached out to us not too long ago. He was looking for a car for the weekends to go out with his wife and have a good time. It needed to be a convertible, it needed to be an automatic so that his wife could drive, and it needed to be under $10,000. We immediately started pushing him towards a first gen Boxster. The second generation Boxster would have been too expensive. We're Porsche guys, so we didn't want to see him end up in a Miata or some of the other cars that are still good roadsters. So we searched for a while. We actually ended up finding a car in Cincinnati that was an S that had the same mileage, and they were asking $6,000. We went and looked at the car, and unfortunately it was kind of a basket case. So we kept looking, and he ended up finding this car in Tennessee. The car was at the dealership it was originally purchased from. The original owner bought it from that dealership, traded it into that dealership. Another person bought it and then traded it back into the dealership, and that's where it was for sale. So it was a two-owner car that had been serviced at the same dealership its entire life and had all of the service records and everything. It's got 102,000 miles. Like I said, it's a base, it's a non-S, so it's got the 2.7 liter flat six in it, and it is the Tiptronic. This was before Porsche came out with the PDK transmissions, but with the wife not being able to drive a stick, that's what they ended up with. All in all, the car's in really good shape. There's only one blemish on the paint at all, and it's on the trunk lid. The wheel and tire package, the factory wheels and tires, I think take away from the car quite a bit. They're sunken in a lot. The offset's really wrong for the car. Someone put on these Porsche badges on the fender, which are obviously not factory and I don't think look that great. The only other modification of the car is these fancy door sill lights. Stuttgart. As we walk around the front, you can see that the headlights have yellowed a little bit with age. We're going to see if we can get that to buff out a little bit. It's not a huge deal if we can't. Otherwise, the paint's in really good shape. As far as I know, the car hasn't been in any accidents. The interior of the car is also really nice for a car of its age. These first gen Boxsters, they were pretty notorious for all the plastic pieces on the interior scratching really easily. And we don't see much of that on this car, really, if any. That's mainly it for a walk around. There's not a lot to show you. The car's basically stock, and not sure if I said earlier, but it was $7,200. So let's go take it for a drive and see what a $7,200 base first gen Boxster is like. All right, guys, so like we said, this is a first generation Boxster, and this is the non-S. It's got the 2.7 liter flat six in it. And on top of that, it is an automatic and not a PDK. The other automatic that was before the PDK, which is the Tiptronic, which is a traditional automatic gearbox, not a dual clutch. So as far as a Boxster goes, this is going to be the lowest performance version of any Boxster there's ever been. So we really wanted to get in this car and figure out, is it still fun to drive? Is it still close to how we feel when we get in the Cayman and drive it? And that's what we're going to find out right now. All right, first, second, third. Not getting too crazy right now, but here's what I can tell you right off the bat, and from driving it around a little bit. It's not fast by any means. Compared to the Cayman, which again, our Cayman is 987.1 Cayman S. That's got the 3.4 liter flat six in it, and it is the 6-speed transmission as well. Compared to that car, it's quite a bit slower, but I really expected it to just be a dog, and that's not the case. Like, it's got enough power to be fun, and it's very rev happy. It's a lot happier after about 4,500 RPM. Then it really starts to pull pretty good. So with a manual transmission, I think the car on an autocross, or for, you know, someone that's just wanting to get into sports cars or the Porsche world, I think it's a pretty good option. We're gonna go through now and we're gonna hit a couple of twisty corners and see how the chassis dynamics are, how the handling is compared to the Cayman and the 944 and some of the other Porsches we've driven. See if it holds up. Brakes, turn in. Stays really planted. You feel it starting to push, little brake. Front end started to bite again and turn in. It handles good. I think it needs some better tires. The front end's pushing quite a bit, and I think that's tire related more than anything else. I did notice that the brakes on this are not as strong as we're used to from the Cayman. We just had this start happening, this odd blinking back and forth, some sort of warning with the transmission. We're gonna have to do some research for him and figure out exactly what that's saying. The Tiptronic seems to still be working with manual controls, and on automatic it's still working as well, so I don't know exactly what it is, but I don't think it's good. We're back on the highway now, cruising along. The automatic transmission is fine for this type of thing. The car itself, it has 102,000 miles. Being a Boxster, there's some creaks and rattles and things that we don't get in the Cayman. Most of it seems to be coming from either the top or the roll hoops behind the seats. It's not a big deal. It's to be expected of a car this age and with that many miles. It's pretty comfortable, really. Obviously, I'm a bigger guy. I have enough room. I don't know that I would want to take it on a 6-hour road trip, but if I wanted to drive it to the track or take it out on the weekend with my wife, it would absolutely be fine for that. The road noise on this car is pretty bad. Once again, I think that's probably tires. The performance sucks and the noise is pretty high. You do get some road noise and stuff through the soft top. It's not as much as I would have expected, but obviously the joy of being able to take the top down when the weather is nicer than it is today makes up for that. So now that we have 2 generations in Porsches, hopefully we can start working on the 3rd.
I want a Porsche.
Well, that's the walk around and the driving impressions. I guess the overall impressions of the car, I think at that price, and to get into the Porsche world and to get into the Porsche Club of America and all those events, I really think it's a great car. I was pleasantly surprised with the 2.7. It's a fun engine just because of how rev happy it is and how the power band works. I think it would obviously be more fun in a manual transmission. Handling was solid. It definitely needs a new set of tires, but I can imagine with exhaust, nice wheels and tires, maybe some lowering springs, it would be an absolute ball to drive. It would be a great first Porsche or just a great roadster for someone to have fun with and to start doing track days with. So really, yeah, I'd say I would suggest it to anyone. As always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.